Mastering business resilience with 30 years experience, growth, scalability, and economic preparedness.
I've had 15 of my own small companies, and starting companies from scratch with virtually no money, and or if I did have money, how to manage that and grow that and scale that. And so the small business experience that I gained many times while I had a full-time job. So it forced me to work through other people, right? And leverage and delegate and things like that. And so there was a lot of different lessons that were learned throughout the years, both on the employer side as well as being self-employed. And so I fast forward to 2017 when we sold, and because of my non-compete, I could no longer operate in that business for the next year. So I'm like, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And that's when it kind of led me into becoming a business coach. So went out, started my business coaching business. I did that for the last 5.5 years now. And during that time, we've added more coaches to the mix. When I first started, it was just selling my sales solutions as a consulting agency. And then eventually during COVID, had to pivot and made the adjustment to incorporate additional services, recognize that there's a lot of business owners that are really good at what they do, just seem to struggle with how to run their business operations, whether it's finance or the back end operations, or they're good at sales, but they don't know how to market, or they're good at marketing, but they don't know how to sell. They don't have the good sales skills. And so just kind of helping them identify, that's really the role that I think we've been able to fill the void, is helping them identify the gaps in the business that we can come in and help fill that gap for them, at least acknowledge what it is, and then develop a plan to fill it. And that's really where My Biz Coach has evolved into, is this solution that we can help people identify that spot where they're struggling, and then build a plan so we can move out of that space and move them to the next level, and then really help them identify, look, if you don't scale your business, and you're leaving yourself subject to the next downturn in the economy. And I think that and I know we've had multiple conversations about this, that's probably one of my biggest things I've become super passionate about, is helping people identify, hey, look, as a small business owner, that's great. However, if you don't insulate yourself from the next thing that's going to happen, we've been through 2001. I mean, I managed through that with one of my wireless companies. 2008, you got to 2018 where we had the economics pullback, and then you got COVID. And if you look at that, that's 4 times in the last 20 years. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
Right.
And so as a coach, we're able to really kind of identify as an objective perspective, right? Here's what we see that you may or may not see in your own business, and we can help them identify those gaps and opportunities.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got a ton of experience, a lot of different sectors, a lot of different business sizes.
Yes.
A lot of different industries. So I can see how that could be really beneficial. One of the things that you mentioned was, business owners are really great at running the part of the business that they're passionate about and with their expertise, but there's so many different parts of running a business that it definitely pays to bring in an expert that has that expertise and those abilities and that experience, and to be able to run a holistic business that's going to be successful, to go through those issues and problems and those 2008s and all of that as we move forward. So that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, just like you, I have I kind of did the corporate side of things and did the side hustle kind of on my own. I started my industry with Amco transmissions back in the day, when you looked for a job in the newspaper. So it says, looking for somebody that's good with numbers and good with people. I'm like, oh, well, that's me. I started that day, became the manager within 2 weeks, and basically looked at it as from an outsider. I wasn't a car girl. I didn't really know what I was doing in the whole thing. Really had probably no place being there in the first place. But I figured, you know what? I would go in there, personality blaring, and if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. So with that, found a startling statistic my first week. The average transmission breaks down every 7 years. So no matter how great I was, no matter my customer service, no matter all the warm and fuzzies, I might get their wife's car or their neighbor's car if I was lucky. So that really led me to creative problem solve from the very beginning of my career. And I think that's one of my biggest strengths. AMCO led me to be a national award-winning sales manager. I was brought in to do kind of like Nicole's shop nightmares instead of Gordon Ramsay's kitchen nightmares.
Right.
So I'd go in and say, okay, was it really the technicians like everybody said that it was? Or was it the branding? Was it, them not marketing appropriately? Was they not doing any outside sales or any of those sort of prospecting? And then further, was it actually the manager or the owner not understanding like how to franchise and what those responsibilities actually meant?